The galaxy had never been truly quiet. Between stars and planets, fleets moved in careful silence, scanning for enemies, plotting their next moves. Among them, the Vastari Armada was considered unstoppable. Its ships were enormous, powerful, and deadly, with weapons that could burn a planet's surface to ash in minutes. The commanders of the Vastari prided themselves on control, discipline, and intelligence. No threat went unnoticed. No enemy was underestimated. Yet on this particular day, something unusual appeared on their sensors. Admiral Vark, the commander of the Vastari 7th Fleet, was the first to notice the anomaly. He sat in the bridge of the flagship Dread Sovereign, his multiple eyes scanning streams of data across the holographic displays. His tentacles flexed with tension. "There," he said, pointing at the glowing blip on the main sensor map. "Do you see it?" His second-in-command, Captain Jarrell, leaned forward. "It's small and moving fast. Could it be a scout drone?" Vark's eyes narrowed. "No. Sensors confirm it's the size of a full warship, and it's not registering any known signature. No alliance, no markings, nothing. It's unknown." The bridge fell silent. A small, strange panic rippled through the crew. Unknown ships were rare, and unknown warships were almost unheard of in their history. "Unknown?" Admiral Jarrell said slowly, "Are you suggesting humans?" Vark's eyes widened. Humans. The name itself carried centuries of fear and myths. Humans were supposed to be a scattered species, primitive, weak, mostly unarmed colonies that could barely defend themselves. Their technology was considered outdated, barely enough to handle pirate attacks. Yet here it was, a human warship, suddenly appearing in the heart of the Vastari Armada. Jarrell shook his head. "Impossible. No human fleet has been detected for centuries. They were thought extinct in this sector. Perhaps it is a legend, a myth manifesting as a hallucination in our sensors." Vark's tentacles flexed tightly around the command console. "Check again, triple scan. Every sensor, every frequency." Minutes passed. Every scan returned the same result, a massive, sleek, and alien design moving toward their fleet. It was unlike any human ship Vark had seen in records, yet the data confirmed it was human-made. The energy signature, the warp field, the hull composition, all pointed to humanity. Vark tapped the console. "Prepare the fleet for engagement. Alert all commanders. Stand by for defensive protocols, but no one attack yet. Observe. I want to see what they do." Across the fleet, alarms began to sound. Crews scrambled to stations. Cannons hummed to life. Shields powered up. Communication lines opened with nearby squadrons. Yet amid all this preparation, uncertainty and fear lingered. Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, the crew was calm. Captain Elias Kane stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, his eyes scanning the vast armada that now lay before him. Hundreds of alien warships organized in tight formations, weapons pointed outward, ready to strike. The humans had expected resistance, but the size of the enemy fleet was impressive. Yet, Kane did not flinch. His crew moved with quiet precision, following orders that seemed simple but were executed with near-perfect timing. "Scanners confirm," said Lieutenant Mara, the ship's chief tactician. "They are scanning us, but so far they are not attacking. Their formations are rigid, their weapons primed. Morale appears uncertain." Kane nodded. "Good. Let them be uncertain. That fear can be more powerful than a weapon. Maintain course. Keep sensors active, but no aggressive action yet. Let's see how they respond." Back in the Vastari fleet, panic began to spread. Fleet commanders exchanged messages, many of them repeating the same phrase. Humans are not supposed to exist here. The very idea that a single human ship could appear in the heart of their territory caused tremors in their confidence. Admiral Vark called for a full conference of all sector commanders. Holograms flickered to life across the bridge of the flagship, showing the faces or the closest equivalent of alien leaders from other fleets. "This is serious," Vark said. "A human warship has appeared in our midst. Our records say they are weak, scattered, and mostly destroyed in past conflicts. Yet this ship is real, and it is here. Commander Threlk, a veteran of the Armada, spoke first. His voice was rough, tinged with disbelief. Admiral, are you certain? Could it be a rogue faction? Perhaps a small human colony building an unauthorized ship? Vark shook his head. No. Sensors confirm this is fully armed, fully operational. Its weapons output is massive. Its hull composition is unlike anything we have seen from human colonies before. Then, another commander said, we must attack immediately. Destroy it before it spreads. If humans have developed fleets, the entire Armada could be at risk. Vark hesitated. Patience. Observe first. Let us understand the threat. Engage only if necessary. I do not want a war based on fear alone. We must be sure. As debates continued, the human warship continued to advance. Its approach was calm, almost deliberate. It did not fire. It did not signal. Yet its presence alone caused confusion. Inside the Indomitable, Kane watched the alien formations with interest. Notice anything? He asked Mara. They're nervous, she replied. Many squadrons are out of formation. Their leaders are shouting, but no one is attacking. It's unusual. They expected a simple human colony, not a warship capable of facing an entire fleet. Kane smiled faintly. Humans have always been underestimated. Let's see if they learn the hard way. Back in the Vastari fleet, whispers spread like wildfire. Pilots told each other stories of human warships in distant sectors, of humans who fought with unmatched courage and strategy, who defeated impossible odds. Most dismissed these as myths, exaggerations of history. Yet now, faced with a single human warship in their midst, those myths felt terrifyingly real. Admiral, Captain Jarrell said, his voice trembling slightly, we have incoming reports. Small scouting ships have attempted to approach the human vessel. None have returned. Not a single drone, not a single fighter. Vark's eyes narrowed. Prepare countermeasures. Shield generators on full. Targeting arrays ready. But do not fire unless provoked. I want them to feel the pressure. Let fear do its work. Across the alien fleet, the atmosphere changed. Some commanders hesitated. Orders were repeated and ignored. Fear spread faster than any signal could travel. Entire squadrons broke formation slightly, unsure whether to advance or retreat. On the human ship, Kane observed all this. They are afraid, he said quietly. Not because we have attacked them, but because they don't understand what they are facing. They think they know humans. They don't. Mara glanced at him. And they never will. Not until it is too late. The human warship moved steadily forward. Its hull gleamed under distant starlight. Its weapons were ready, yet silent. Its presence alone radiated confidence and discipline, a stark contrast to the growing chaos in the alien fleet. In the Vastari command rooms, whispers became urgent discussions. They are human, one ship, and yet... The sentence was left, unfinished as commanders stared at the blip on their sensors. It was moving closer, faster than expected, and without hesitation. Admiral Vark's tentacles flexed with tension. Prepare for all scenarios, he ordered. But remember, this is only one ship. Yet it feels impossible. Keep your fleets ready. The humans have arrived. For the first time in centuries, a single human warship caused the Vastari Armada to hesitate. Fear spread through the ranks. Uncertainty clouded their judgments, and the entire fleet, massive, powerful, unstoppable, paused to consider the impossible. A species they had long dismissed, standing boldly in the heart of their territory, ready to show what humans were truly capable of. The alien fleet trembled. The Vastari commanders had not expected this. One human warship, alone, moving boldly into the heart of their formation. Across the fleet, signals crackled with confusion. Some ships hesitated, others attempted to engage, but uncertainty paralyzed many crews. Admiral Vark clenched his tentacles around the armrest of his command chair. They are provoking us, he muttered. But why are they not attacking? Are they waiting for something? Captain Jarrell's many eyes flicked nervously across the bridge displays. Admiral, sensors report that their energy shields are fully operational. Weapons at peak readiness. Their targeting algorithms are adaptive, faster than anything we have ever encountered. Vark's gaze darkened. Prepare the fleet for engagement. Launch fighter squadrons to probe their defenses, but caution every commander. This is no ordinary human ship. Minutes later, the Vastari fighters surged forward. Hundreds of sleek, nimble ships darted through space, closing the distance toward the Indomitable. Their weapons hummed, energy cannons primed to fire the first salvo. Confidence was high, at least among the pilots. They had never faced humans in this sector, but each believed in the overwhelming numbers of their fleet. One ship alone should not survive such an assault. The human warship did not flinch. Captain Kane stood on the bridge, calm as ever. Incoming, he said, his voice steady. Targeting systems active. Brace for engagement. Lieutenant Mara tapped the control console. Rapidly. They're fast but not coordinated. I can predict their formation shifts. I'll lock onto their vectors. Kane nodded. Do it. Let's show them the consequences of underestimating humanity. In a heartbeat, the Indomitable unleashed its first strike. Small, precise bursts of energy shot out from the ship, targeting the lead alien fighters. In moments, several ships were disabled mid-flight, their engines overloading, sending them spinning into space. Panic erupted among the Vastari squadrons. Communications were filled with alarms and frantic calls. "They're too fast," shouted one pilot. They predicted our movements." Another squadron leader barked orders, trying to regain control, but chaos had already spread. The Indomitable moved with terrifying efficiency, dodging attacks and striking with precision. It was not merely a ship. It was a demonstration of human discipline, strategy, and adaptability. Admiral Vark's tentacles flexed with frustration. "Hold formation. Do not break ranks," he roared. "Target that ship with everything we have." Massive energy cannons on the alien capital ships fired simultaneously. Beams of light surged toward the Indomitable, intending to shred its hull. But the human ship moved as if anticipating each attack, weaving gracefully through the onslaught, shields absorbing impacts with barely a flicker. "Admiral," Jarrell reported, voice tight with unease. "Our weapons cannot even scratch their shields. They're too advanced." Vark's eyes narrowed. "Then adapt. Do not underestimate them. If one ship can do this, imagine what a fleet of humans could do. We cannot let them survive." The human warship struck again. This time, targeting the alien capital ships. Mara's hands flew over the controls, calculating trajectories with lightning speed. Small, high-energy projectiles streaked across space, striking weak points in the enemy hulls. Explosions blossomed across the lead ships. Panels of alien armor were ripped apart, exposing vital systems. Across the fleet, fear spread like wildfire. Pilots abandoned their formations. Squadrons broke apart. Even veteran commanders began to question their strategy. The myth of human weakness shattered before their eyes. One ship, moving alone, was doing what an entire armada should have been capable of, and failing. Captain Kane observed the unfolding. Chaos with calm detachment. "They are afraid," he said quietly, "and fear makes them predictable." Lieutenant Mara nodded. "Their reactions are becoming erratic. We can anticipate the next wave. Shall I initiate targeting protocol 2? "Do it," Kane replied. The Indomitable moved with near-perfect precision, slicing through the alien formations. Alien ships that had been confident in their numbers were now trapped by panic and disorganization. Systems failed, engines flared, and alarms blared as human strikes disabled key sections of the fleet. Admiral Vark could not hide his frustration. "Focus fire. Target their engines. They cannot outrun everything." But it was already too late. The human warship's speed and adaptability rendered conventional strategies useless. Alien fighters were destroyed in volleys. Cruisers had their Shields pierced and entire formations fell into disarray. In one brilliant maneuver, the Indomitable approached the heart of the alien fleet, weaving through concentrated fire. Mara engaged the ship's advanced cloaking systems for a brief moment, disappearing from sensors entirely. When she reappeared, several alien command ships were critically damaged, systems failing, lights flickering. "Impossible," one alien commander hissed over the comms. "They cannot be here, one ship." Another shouted, "Retreat! Retreat before they destroy everything." But fear had already taken hold. Across the fleet, messages became confused and contradictory. Orders were given and ignored. Pilots acted without coordination. What had begun as a strong, disciplined armada was now fragmented, scattered, and vulnerable. Captain Kane's voice rang out calmly. "Maintain pressure, no unnecessary risk. Let them feel the consequences of their fear. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is precise. Humanity is prepared." As the battle raged, alien ships attempted desperate maneuvers. Some tried kamikaze-style attacks, ramming the human vessel. Others attempted to regroup, forming makeshift defensive lines. Yet every action was anticipated, every move countered. The Indomitable struck again and again. The lead alien cruisers were crippled, their weapons destroyed, engines failing. Entire squadrons surrendered on the spot, their crews trembling at the sight of a single human ship controlling the battlefield. Inside the human vessel, the crew moved with silent confidence. Engineers monitored systems, repairing minor damage. Instantly, tactical officers calculated every vector, every trajectory, and issued commands efficiently. The ship moved as a single organism, human minds and machines working in perfect harmony. Admiral Vark's tentacles twitched with anger and disbelief. He had commanded fleets, fought wars, and survived battles against the deadliest opponents. But this was different. One human warship had shattered centuries of confidence in an instant. "Prepare emergency protocols," Vark growled. "Call for reinforcements. We cannot lose this fleet to one ship." Yet reinforcements would take hours to arrive, and by then the human warship would have already demonstrated the extent of its power. Already, alien morale had collapsed. Small groups were surrendering, others fleeing, and even the bravest pilots hesitated to attack. Captain Kane observed the chaos calmly. "They are learning a lesson," he said softly. "Underestimating humans is a mistake they will not repeat." Mara glanced at him, awe in her eyes. "We're witnessing history." Kane nodded. "Not just history. We are setting a standard. Humanity shows the galaxy that even one ship, properly commanded, can change the course of a war." In the Vestari fleet, whispers spread. Stories of human courage, efficiency, and adaptability had always existed in history books, told in legends of long ago, but now facing a living, moving example, fear replaced disbelief. Entire commanders began to question whether their empire could survive the return of humans. The battle began to wind down. The alien armada, once confident and precise, now scattered and broken, limped away. Ships were lost, formations destroyed, and morale shattered. Only a few cruisers remained in organized movement, and they did so with extreme caution, unable to face the Indomitable again. Captain Kane allowed the ship to glide calmly through the remnants of the alien fleet. "We did not destroy them all," he said, "but we made them think twice. That is enough for now." Lieutenant Mara looked at the captain. "Do you think they will come back?" Kane's eyes narrowed, his voice steady. "Perhaps. But the galaxy now knows one truth. Humans are not to be underestimated. One ship, one crew, one human captain can change the outcome of an entire war." As the stars stretched past the Indomitable, the human crew remained calm, efficient, and resolute. Behind them, the Vestari Armada was in disarray. Rumors would spread, fear would take root, and legends would begin to form. All because one human warship had dared to enter a fleet that thought itself unbeatable and emerged victorious without even firing a full strike. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy would remember. Humans were dangerous. Humans were intelligent. Humans were unstoppable when they chose to be. The Vastari Armada had retreated, but not in order. The fleet, once a symbol of strength and unity, now staggered through space, crippled by confusion, panic, and fear. News of the human warship spread from ship to ship, broadcasted through every communication channel, even those scrambled by the aliens themselves. Have you seen it? A junior pilot whispered over the comms. One ship, and yet it destroyed half our fleet. Don't talk about it, another replied, voice trembling. It will hear you. But of course the Indomitable could not hear them, not physically. But the effect of its presence was already enough. The humans understood that fear could be as powerful a weapon as any cannon. Inside the Vastari command fleet, Admiral Vark convened an emergency council. Holographic images of fleet commanders filled the room, their faces pale, their tentacles twitching. Some were veteran leaders experienced in countless battles, yet all now faced a common, unexpected dilemma. One human warship had thrown centuries of tactical planning into chaos. Admiral, Commander Threlk said, his voice tight. With urgency, we cannot fight them conventionally. Our weapons fail, our fighters are useless. The humans, they are unpredictable. Vark's eyes darkened. Then we must adapt. We cannot flee forever. Humans may only be one ship, but one ship with such power can inspire fear across the entire galaxy. If we do not respond strategically, we risk losing more than ships. We risk losing control over our empire. Another commander, Elder Rith, spoke hesitantly. Perhaps we should negotiate. If they are intelligent, perhaps diplomacy can save what remains. Vark's eyes narrowed. Diplomacy against humans. You forget our history. They do not negotiate from weakness. And if they strike with precision. No, we adapt or we die. Meanwhile, the Indomitable moved through space, calm and deliberate. Captain Kane observed the scattered alien fleet ahead. He understood something most did not. Humans had a unique advantage, not just their technology, but their ability to think, adapt, and exploit fear. They're panicking, Kane said quietly. Not because we are attacking them. They are panicking because they do not understand what they are facing. That is the first advantage. Now we use the second, strategy. Lieutenant Mara, studying the alien formations, nodded. Their communication is failing. Pilots are making mistakes. Commanders are issuing conflicting orders. We can manipulate their movements without firing a single shot. Kane smiled. Exactly. Prepare tactical protocols. Let them make the mistakes themselves. Our first strike showed them our strength. Now we show them our cunning. Across the Vastari fleet, confusion reigned. Some squadrons fled entirely, abandoning their formations. Others tried to regroup, only to collide with allied ships or miscalculate their maneuvers. The human warship had not fired a single salvo in several minutes, yet the alien armada was unraveling on its own. Admiral Vark paced the command room. Every sensor shows failure, he said, frustration growing. Our pilots are panicking, systems are being mismanaged. Even veteran commanders are issuing contradictory orders. How is one ship doing this? Threlk looked grim. Humans are different. They do not rely solely on numbers or brute force. They anticipate, they adapt, they exploit fear. We are witnessing something beyond our understanding. Vark clenched his tentacles. We cannot allow them to escape. Gather every remaining squadron, establish a defensive line. We may not defeat them yet, but we can contain them. But containment proved impossible. The humans moved with precision, cutting off critical escape routes, forcing alien ships into positions where collisions and mistakes became inevitable. Mara adjusted the Indomitable's course slightly, using their own panic against them. Look, she said, pointing at the tactical display. They're cornering themselves. Entire squadrons are converging unintentionally. They are following our influence even without knowing it. Kane nodded. Excellent. Keep them disorganized. Minimal force, maximum effect. Let them do the work for us. In the alien armada, whispers of fear spread like wildfire. Pilots compared notes. Did you see that human ship? It doesn't attack, yet we fall apart. Commanders argued over tactics, but no consensus emerged. Some wanted to attack aggressively. Others advocated retreat. Still others suggested surrender. Disagreement led to hesitation. Hesitation led to mistakes, and mistakes multiplied with terrifying speed. One alien fleet captain, in despair, muttered to his crew, "This is impossible. They are only one. How can one human control an entire fleet without firing?" The human ship continued to advance slowly, almost leisurely, observing the chaos with silent authority. Every movement was calculated. Every display on the tactical map anticipated alien reactions. Humans had mastered the art of control, not by brute force but by psychological advantage. Meanwhile, the Vastari leadership began to fracture. Subordinate fleets began acting independently, ignoring orders. Some attempted aggressive maneuvers, others tried to flee. Communications were overwhelmed with conflicting reports. Even the most seasoned officers were paralyzed by fear. "Captain," Kane turned to Mara. "They're learning. They don't understand humans yet, and until they do, they will be predictable. Prepare for Phase 2. We strike where they least expect it." Mara's eyes widened. "Phase 2? They haven't even attacked us fully yet?" Kane smiled faintly. "They already have. Fear is their attack. Chaos is their weapon. We only need to guide it." As the alien fleet struggled, one faction attempted to regroup and launch a counterattack. Scores of fighters surged toward the human ship, hoping to overwhelm it with numbers. The Indomitable reacted instantly. Mara deployed decoys and adjusted movement patterns, forcing the alien fighters to collide with one another. Engines failed, weapons misfired, and the attack collapsed into chaos. Admiral Vark watched in horror as more of his fleet fell into disorder. "We have trained for centuries," he muttered. "Our fleets are unmatched. Yet one human, one ship." Threlk's voice trembled. "They are beyond what we imagined. We cannot predict them. Our best strategies fail." Inside the human ship, Kane allowed a moment of quiet. "We're not done yet," he said. "They have lost confidence. Now we push further. Let them make mistakes, and then we guide them to our advantage." The human ship's presence alone reshaped the battlefield. Alien squadrons made tactical errors, collided, or surrendered without even seeing the full power of the humans. The Indomitable moved through the fleet like a phantom, unseen yet controlling the flow of battle. In one brilliant move, the human ship positioned itself near the heart of the alien armada. Mara manipulated energy signatures to confuse enemy sensors. Ships misread distances, calculated wrong attack vectors, and collided. Entire groups were disabled without the humans firing a single weapon. "Captain," Mara said, awe in her voice, "it's working perfectly. They're destroying themselves." Kane's eyes gleamed. "Humans have always thrived on adaptation. Let them continue." Meanwhile, across the scattered Vastari fleet, commanders began to panic openly. Some surrendered, immediately, broadcasting distress signals. Others attempted to flee only to encounter their own disorganized formations. Fear had become strategy. Though unintentionally, the aliens were playing into human hands. Admiral Vark growled, frustration twisting his features. "We must regroup, focus on saving what remains." But it was too late. The human ship had already demonstrated the extent of its control. Entire sections of the Armada were crippled. Chaos was now an ally of the humans. Kane observed silently. "They think numbers matter. They think firepower alone can win. They forget one truth. Humans think differently. We adapt, we anticipate, we control the battlefield itself. And sometimes the greatest weapon is fear." By the time the battle ended, the Vastari fleet had lost almost a third of its ships. Communication lines were fractured, squadrons were scattered, and morale was in ruins. One human ship, unmoved, had reshaped the battlefield through intelligence, precision, and psychological mastery. In the aftermath, rumors spread across the galaxy. Alien species began whispering tales of the human ship that had controlled an entire armada without firing full force. Legends grew. Fear of humans would no longer be ignored. Captain Kane stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the stars. "Phase 2 complete," he said softly. "They understand one thing now: humans are not weak. Humans are not predictable. And humans are never to be underestimated." Mara nodded. "The galaxy will remember this day." Kane's expression was calm but determined. "Yes, and this is only the beginning. One ship can cause fear. But when the galaxy learns what humans are truly capable of, everything will change." The Indomitable drifted silently through the remnants of the alien fleet. The human crew moved with efficiency, discipline, and quiet confidence. The battle was not just one with weapons. It was one with strategy, intelligence, and the unique human ability to turn fear into an advantage. The Vastari Armada was a shadow of its former self. Once a disciplined, unstoppable force, it now staggered through the void, crippled by fear, confusion, and shattered morale. Every ship that remained intact carried crews trembling with doubt, questioning their own abilities and wondering if the humans were invincible. Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Kane surveyed the disarray. The alien fleet had scattered, but that did not mean the humans would let them go. Kane understood that fear could be amplified. Mistakes could be exploited, and the outcome of the battle could be decided not by numbers but by precision and timing. "Lieutenant Mara," Kane said, voice calm and authoritative, "prepare for the final offensive. We will strike at the core of their formation. Their fleet may have survived physically, but their cohesion is gone. Now we finish this strategically." Mara's eyes flicked across the tactical display. "Their remaining squadrons are trying to regroup, but their systems are compromised. Energy levels are inconsistent, communications are fragmented, and morale is at an all-time low. We can corner them, Captain." Kane nodded. "Good. Let's make it decisive. Minimal risk, maximum effect." In the Vastari command fleet, Admiral Fark attempted to restore order. His tentacles flexed nervously across the console as he shouted commands to scattered squadrons. "Regroup, regain formation, target the human warship at all costs." But the orders fell on deaf ears. Some squadrons hesitated, others ignored them entirely. Even the most experienced pilots collided with one another in chaotic maneuvers, their engines flaring as the humans manipulated their perception of the battlefield. Fear had become their own weapon against them. "Admiral," Commander Threlk said, his voice tense, "our fleets cannot maintain formation. The humans, they are controlling the battlefield without firing a single full strike. We cannot predict their movements, and our pilots are panicking. What do we do?" Fark's eyes narrowed. "We adapt, or we die. Form defensive lines. Use our remaining heavy cruisers to shield the vulnerable ships. We cannot let them annihilate us completely." Back on the Indomitable, Kane smiled faintly. "They are doing exactly what we expected," he said. "Their attempts to regroup make them predictable. Mara, initiate the final sequence. Let's show them the true capability of human strategy." Mara's fingers danced across the control panel, activating advanced targeting arrays and sensor disruption fields. Alien ships, already disoriented, began to misread distances, velocities, and trajectories. Fighters collided mid-flight, capital ships misfired, and energy weapons overloaded. Every minor mistake the aliens made was magnified. "Phase 1 was fear," Kane said. "Phase 2 was strategy. Now comes Phase 3, precision strike. One ship, perfect execution. They cannot survive this." As the Indomitable moved toward the heart of the alien formation, Mara activated decoy systems, creating multiple phantom ships that mimicked the human vessel. Alien sensors detected dozens of targets, none of which were real. Panic intensified. "Captain," Mara said, "they are dividing their forces to attack decoys. Their heavy cruisers are leaving gaps. We have a clear path to the command ships." Kane's expression remained calm. "Good. Lock onto the primary targets. Prepare precision energy strikes." The human warship accelerated. weaving through the chaos with unmatched precision. Energy beams discharged in calculated bursts, disabling propulsion systems, weapon arrays, and communications on multiple alien vessels. Explosions blossomed across the Armada, but never indiscriminately. Each strike was measured, surgical, and terrifyingly effective. Admiral Vark watched helplessly as his carefully organized fleet fell apart. How is this possible? He whispered. One ship. Just one. Commander Threlk's voice trembled. They are everywhere, and nowhere. Their strategy is like beyond comprehension. As alien forces attempted desperate maneuvers, the Indomitable anticipated each move. Mara guided the ship through an intricate pattern, forcing alien cruisers into collisions or vulnerable positions. Fighters were trapped by miscalculations and collided with one another, some destroyed before firing a single shot. Captain, Mara said, excitement creeping into her tone, their flagship is isolated. If we target it directly, the rest of the fleet may surrender. Kane nodded. Do it, but keep it precise. The goal is not annihilation, it is demonstration. Humans must show power, but also restraint. Energy beams streaked toward the alien flagship, cutting through shields and disabling critical systems. Panels of alien armor melted under controlled bursts, exposing engines and weapon systems. The flagship shuddered, its crew panicking as their commands went unheeded. Across the Vastari fleet, remaining ships began to surrender. Pilots broadcast distress signals, requesting mercy, or attempted to flee in broken formations. Chaos had become complete. The aliens had underestimated humans, and now they faced the consequences. Inside the Indomitable, the crew worked with quiet efficiency. Engineers patched minor hull damage instantly. Tactical officers calculated vectors with precision. The ship moved as a single organism, every human on board synchronized in purpose and action. Captain, Mara said, her eyes on the display. They are surrendering. Entire squadrons are dropping weapons and signaling for ceasefire. Kane's eyes softened, though his expression remained firm. Good. Let them understand. Fear and respect are stronger teachers than destruction alone. Even the most hardened alien commanders could not escape the lesson. Admiral Vark, isolated on the bridge of his flagship, watched as his fleet crumbled around him. Ships he had commanded for decades were now surrendering to a single human warship. Pride, fear, and disbelief battled within him. They are humans, he muttered. One ship, controlling an entire armada. Vark realized the truth. Humans did not need to conquer with numbers. They conquered with intelligence, strategy, and adaptability. One ship, one crew, one captain. Humans had turned fear and chaos into a weapon more effective than any energy cannon. As the battle drew to a close, the Indomitable moved slowly among the remnants of the alien fleet. Captain Kane observed the scattered ships, noting which had surrendered, which were fleeing, and which were too damaged to recover. They understand now, he said quietly. Human ingenuity cannot be ignored. Our tactics, our discipline, our courage, these define us, and the galaxy will remember this day. Lieutenant Mara smiled faintly. We've proven it. One ship, one crew. We've changed the course of history. Kane nodded. Yes, but this is only the beginning. Humanity has returned to the galaxy, and those who doubted us will now think twice before underestimating our strength. In the vast silence of space, the Indomitable glided calmly through the remnants of the Vastari Armada. Stars stretched endlessly ahead, but Captain Kane's focus remained on the fleet that had been scattered, humbled, and reminded of the human potential. Meanwhile, across alien worlds, the news of the battle spread. Rumors grew. Stories were told of the single human warship that had defeated an entire armada without even firing a full assault. Fear and respect intertwined, shaping legends that would echo for generations. In the aftermath, the humans had achieved more than victory. They had reshaped the balance of power. Alien species would no longer underestimate humans. They would calculate every encounter with caution, fear, and respect. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Kane looked at his crew. We've shown them what humans can do. But our mission is not complete. We must ensure they understand fully, not through destruction, but through strategy, intelligence, and example. The galaxy must learn, humans are not to be underestimated. Crew nodded silently. Engineers, tacticians, and officers moved with quiet confidence, each understanding the importance of their actions. They had not only survived, they had changed the perception of humanity across the stars, and in that moment, as the human warship drifted through space, the galaxy began to take notice. Fear, respect, and curiosity mingled in equal measure. One ship, one crew, one human captain. It was enough to alter the course of history forever. The turning point had come. Humanity had returned, not just to fight, but to demonstrate that their ingenuity, courage, and discipline made them a force no one could ignore. The Vastari Armada, once proud and feared, now understood a simple truth. Humans were different. Humans were dangerous. Humans were unstoppable when united. The Vastari Armada was no longer the unstoppable force it had once been. Their disciplined formations lay shattered across space. Ships drifted in disarray, crippled by fear, miscalculations, and the unexpected brilliance of a single human warship. Yet even in their confusion, the remaining alien commanders could not escape one undeniable truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were not to be underestimated. Humans were a force of intelligence, discipline, and courage that could challenge empires. Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Kane observed the remnants of the alien fleet. His eyes were steady, his posture calm, but inside, he felt the weight of responsibility. One ship had demonstrated humanity's strength, but their purpose went beyond simple destruction. Humans did not conquer for fear alone. Humans commanded respect, not merely obedience. Lieutenant Mara, scanning the fractured fleet, spoke quietly. Captain, they're surrendering. More and more are dropping weapons, broadcasting ceasefire signals. Entire squadrons are falling, in line, some even requesting negotiation. Kane nodded. Good. Accept surrender where possible. We demonstrate strength, but not cruelty. Humans do not need unnecessary destruction to command respect. Across the Vastari command fleet, Admiral Vark struggled to regain composure. His tentacles flexed tightly across the control console as he observed the surrendering ships. A mixture of fear, pride, and disbelief swirled within him. They are just one ship, Vark whispered. How can one ship control an entire armada? Our fleets, our weapons, our centuries of planning. Commander Threlk interrupted, his voice tense. They are humans, Admiral. They do not fight like anyone else. One ship, one captain, and the galaxy will never forget it. Vark's eyes darkened, but he realized the truth. Humanity had returned, not just to exist, but to show the galaxy that their strength was beyond imagination. Their intelligence, adaptability, and courage were weapons far deadlier than any energy cannon. On the Indomitable, Kane gave the final orders. Open communications to the surrendered fleets. Confirm safe passage and minimal engagement rules. Let them understand our intentions. Humans are powerful, but not cruel. We demand respect, not blind obedience. Mara's hands flew over the controls, transmitting messages to the alien fleet. They're responding. Yes, Captain, they're following instructions. Entire fleets are complying with our directives. Their surrender is orderly. Kane's gaze remained fixed on the holographic displays. Good. Let them witness what humanity is capable of and let them carry that lesson back to their worlds. The galaxy must remember this day. As the alien ships complied, small groups of survivors approached the Indomitable. They came cautiously, their weapons deactivated, communications open. For many, it was a moment of awe, fear, and disbelief. How could one human warship control the course of an entire armada? How could a single crew demonstrate intelligence, discipline, and strategy so far beyond their expectations? Captain Kane addressed the approaching fleet. His voice was calm, firm, and resonant across the communication channels. We are humans, We come in peace, but we will defend ourselves and our territory with full strength if necessary. Respect the surrender process, follow our instructions, and you will return safely to your home systems. The alien commanders, still trembling, obeyed. They had seen the power of humans firsthand. They had felt the weight of fear, the precision of strategy, and the inevitability of human discipline. They understood that to oppose humans recklessly would invite disaster. Admiral Vark, still aboard his crippled flagship, looked at Kane's messages with a mix of resignation and reverence. We underestimated them, he admitted to Threlk. We thought one ship could not possibly hold such power, but we were wrong. Humanity is beyond comprehension. Threlk nodded slowly. And now, Admiral, the galaxy knows it too. One ship, one crew, has changed everything. Meanwhile, the Indomitable moved among the surrendered ships, ensuring compliance and order. Humans had proven strength, but also mercy. They had shown the galaxy what it meant to be disciplined, strategic, and intelligent. Their victory was not just measured in destroyed ships, but in the lasting impression left on every alien commander who had faced them. Across distant star systems, news of the battle spread like wildfire. Pilots, fleet commanders, and civilian worlds alike shared reports of a single human warship that had defeated an entire armada with precision and control. The legends of humans were no longer myths, they were reality. In every corner of the galaxy, species began to reconsider their strategies, alliances, and perceptions. Humans were not weak colonies, humans were not unpredictable animals. Humans were a force of intellect, courage, and resilience, a species capable of shaping the future of the galaxy itself. Back on the Indomitable, Captain Kane gathered his crew. Engineers, tactical officers, pilots, and command staff stood quietly, absorbing the significance of what they had accomplished. "We've done more than win a battle," Kane said. "We've reminded the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. One ship, one crew, one disciplined team can change the course of history. Remember this lesson, carry it with you, and let it guide us in the challenges ahead." "Lieutenant." Mara looked at him, eyes bright. "Captain, the surrendering fleets, they are broadcasting messages to their home worlds. They're telling everyone what happened. Humans are legendary now." Kane allowed a faint smile. "Not legendary, just prepared, disciplined, and capable. Humans are what humans are. Let the galaxy learn it firsthand." In the Vastari command, Admiral Vark transmitted reports to his superiors. "The humans, one ship, defeated our fleet. We must reconsider all strategies, all campaigns, all assumptions. They are unlike any species we have ever faced." Across alien worlds, governments and civilians alike took note. Humans were no longer ignored, dismissed, or underestimated. Entire civilizations began to rethink their perceptions, alliances, and approaches. Humanity had reclaimed a place in galactic history, not through conquest but through intelligence, strategy, and the demonstration of strength. As the Indomitable prepared to leave the sector, Captain Kane looked out across the stars. The alien fleets were scattered, surrendering and retreating to their home systems. The galaxy was quiet for a moment, a silence filled with awe, fear, and respect. "They've learned," Kane said softly. "The galaxy will never forget the humans, and this is only the beginning." Mara glanced at him. "Do you think they will attack again?" Kane shook his head. "Perhaps, but they will not underestimate us again. And that knowledge, that respect, is worth more than any battle won." The Indomitable glided through space, its engines silent against the backdrop of distant stars. Behind it, the Vastari Armada recovered slowly, humbled by the lesson taught by humans. Across the galaxy, word of the battle spread, inspiring fear, respect, and curiosity in equal measure. In distant sectors, other alien species listened to the reports, recalculating strategies and alliances. Humanity had returned, and the memory of one human warship controlling an entire armada would echo for generations. For Captain Kane and his crew, the journey continued. The galaxy had been reminded of one undeniable truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were not to be ignored. Humans were a species capable of incredible feats, united, disciplined, and fearless. And as the Indomitable moved into the vast expanse of space, one thought remained clear in Kane's mind. This was only the beginning. Humanity had returned to the galaxy, and no force, no matter how powerful, would ever underestimate them again. The galaxy had been remade, not by force alone, but by intelligence, courage, and human spirit. One ship had changed everything. One crew had reminded the stars what it meant to be human. Legends would be told. Fear would be remembered, respect would be demanded. And across the galaxy, humans would rise not as conquerors, but as a species the universe could not ignore. The Indomitable disappeared into the darkness of space, a silent herald of humanity's return. One ship, one crew, one undeniable truth. Humans were unstoppable when united, and the galaxy would never forget it.